Happy New Year, everyone. I have some things to tell you today, but I think a lot of you probably know what's going on in the States. I had no idea, but when I saw this video, I thought, oh my goodness. That's what the video that I made the other day, which is called Trump's Golden Age. So I hope to get down there and show you that painting again, which is when I thought it first started. I actually found the dream. So this is I'm talking about the dream of the great big UFOs, the great big, swirly. Okay, I'll show you the dream. You know what, those of you who watched it, you'll know you're talking about. So that was the sort of dream, that was the picture I did of it way back then. It's when I was learning Hebrew. 13th of the 6th, 2011. And those of you who don't know about it, I'll actually just probably take you in there straight away. But, I showed you this painting that I did down the passageway of these great big men coming from these orbs. So the first sign that I ever had in 2011 in the sky was, I called it Planet X showed up for my birthday. But because certain people have had my channels taken down so many times, and I'm so shadow banned. But what I also found was that some of that tapes, and there was one particular video I did called 7 Years of Signs You've All Ignored, and it's really weird. So somebody's actually got in there and screwed around with that video, and the first thing that I had on there, which was Planet X showed up for my birthday, and that was just this orb the size of about a pea, and that was on my birthday, which was Sukkot that year. And Sukkot, for those of you who have know Hebrew at all, is when God comes back to earth, right? And it's about living in tents and all this sort of thing. Anyway, so that's the Jews go out in a tent because God came down and oh dear, and lived in the tent. Anyway, he didn't live in a tent, and someone else did. So here was the first one. I had no idea it was this long ago. So this is the 8th of June, 2011. Okay, so the UFO. Okay, so UFO creating a vortex, sucking everything upwards towards the centre, the creator. And funnily enough, this was also the time my mother had a stroke. I've written there. So that there is, the 24th of the 11th. And this is what I sort of wanted to sort of say to you. This is what this guy says, and what I've just really come to realise is that your dreams, or some of us anyway, me definitely, and probably you when you start, actually realising how important, you are, and that this is something that Plato knew. So I've never read Plato, that's for sure, but it would appear that I'm going to have to. So here on page 85, so this is The Scars of Eden by Paul Wallace, and this is page 85. Unfortunately, it starts here and then turns over the page. So for me, I'm not a brilliant reader, I sort of missed the importance of it. It says here, when the church fathers I mentioned affirmed, agreed with Plato and quoted him as an equal, or more pointedly as a superior intellect to the Apostle Paul, so this is our church fathers, they were affirming a philosopher who championed some powerful and eye-opening beliefs, which were soon to become taboo in imperial Christianity. So, and this is what they were. So then he gives the list. The children of God who modified our ancestors to increase our capacity for intelligence and consciousness. This idea resounds throughout the mythologies of the ancient world. And if you've watched my video of yesterday, and the day before yesterday, I talk about this dream on this tiny little bit of paper. Please don't say I've lost it, which actually spoke of us being chased through this building upstairs and being frightened, but then, oh, there it is, but then finding out that they wanted to start a new school and give us new herbs and rewire us. And so that's what Plato is talking about. And then he talks about the holographic universe and the non-divine craftsman, Demiurgos, who translated the codes or forms and downloaded them into the physical manifestation we're all familiar with. It's like the Matrix, but in ancient Greek. Unfortunately, I haven't seen the Matrix, so, I'm going to have to, because this is what I'm saying, that whole Argo, what I dreamt of in Argo about that ship, that they are putting it up in the heavens and it becomes reality on the earth, and it's like they sent his word. He sent his word and healed them. Our cosmic neighbours longer lived, more intelligent, and with an advanced knowledge of outer space and residing on their islands in the sky, what the Drona Parva of the Hindu Vedas described as cities in the sky. Today we might call them space stations or unidentified aerial phenomena. The succession, so there's another point here, the succession of civilizations on Earth. Every few thousand years, he said, the movement of objects in space would trigger extinction-level events, resetting civilization to a virtual zero. So this is what I have done right from the beginning. When the first video I did, the war is over, the Red Bull is coming to save us. That was one of the videos I did from a dream that I had, and that Red Bull I believed was Nibiru, and Nibiru is one of the homes of the gods. And then the next point, the conscious universe, or at least the idea that consciousness preceded and generated this material realm. This idea echoes in century 21st quantum research. So that's what they're coming to now. And of course, that was the things that I came to when each of my death experience when I was killed, and I came back knowing I knew everything. So I knew that I didn't die, and that you don't die, and that hell is made up by the church, by these evil ones. Okay, so but I just want to, so I want to go now. Okay, so here, this is the dream that I had of that big painting. So you can go and see the painting that I did, and here it is, 13th of the 6th, 2011, Monday. Yesterday I dreamt that there were many different spacecrafts coming in for landing at our house. It was nighttime and dark except for these white transparent ships of moving shapes. Some were tall designs and some were wide, and some were almost mushrooms in character and billowing out like parachutes lying sideways. Believe me, I just... pretty hard to paint, but amazingly I actually saw images of them later. I was going to get my camera, but then I thought, why bother? And I just went out to meet them, calling for Dennis, who was in the next room. Okay, it says, the house felt more like 181. That was another house we lived in way back. And when I went outside, the ships had landed and there were normal-looking men coming inside the house. I think the UFOs had actually changed into men when they landed. It seemed that they were not taking us anywhere, but they were coming to live with us, as they had wanted to know what temperature the hot water cylinder was set out at. When I said I thought it was set at 38, they said they needed it to be set at 33. They wanted our house because it was a large house. Okay, and then interestingly enough, and you always get themes. So this whole here from 2010 to 2011. If I go and analyse it all, it'll all be one theme talking about. And by the look of it here, so this was 2011. So how many years is that? That's 8 years. Oh no, I don't know. Hang on. Exhausting. I can't add it. And so another dream of Glenn Beck. so of course Glenn Beck, so I've got several ones of Glenn Beck. One was on the 19th and one was on the 20th. So at that stage, of course, Glenn Beck was really sort of getting into, he had his own program on TV. And so I won't need to tell you about that one because it's got, just using symbolism. And sorry about my squeaky blooming chair. So first of all, I just wanted to show you, I'll show you this. This is what's happening. This is wild. So if you've seen this video is to tell you, do not be afraid, okay? Do not be afraid. That all you have to be afraid of is the lies that Christians like Tom Horn have filled you with fear about, telling you that these are demons. They are not demons.
These videos suggest that these things are way more technological. Let's also take a look at the newest sightings of these orbs and drones in New York and many other places.
Oh, what the is this, bro? What the is this shit?
These videos suggest that these things are way more technologically advanced than we previously thought. The thing is this just a coincidence? Or do these alien-like creatures that are supposedly being spotted have something to do with the current sightings? In a few minutes we'll deep dive into that, but first let's begin with the basic, and that would be this man's video in South Carolina.
I hope you can hear this. It sounds like gorillas fighting in the tree. They're breaking limbs bigger around than me.
Oh boy. What was that?
I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Why did you...
This is the second time I've come over here. And the first time when I got up under them trying to figure out what it was, they started breaking limbs off and throwing them at me. And I still cannot figure out what it is.
So this is the second time.
Look, they're ruining this freaking place. What in God's name is it? It's bigger than me, whatever it is. Because just breaking limbs off that it would take me 2 minutes to saw.
Okay, so...
What was that noise?
Look, see, he's coming right above me right here. He's fixing to throw something at me, whatever it is. Yeah, they don't like you messing with them.
Look at that.
What in God's name is going on?
Okay, well, I can't actually see anything. I can see the damage that's happening. But now I just want to show you, I'll just go to my thingies for those of you who haven't seen it. I wanted to show you this. So, and this was I only found this because of a dream that I had, and in the dream I was at a place called Ikatawa Road, which is actually a place in my town, and okay, just let me think, a gallery. So, you know, I knew that Ika meant fish, so I looked that up, and then I looked it up a different language. And this is the sort of thing that you have to do, you know, your dreams, and because they come from heaven, you know, they speak a different language, and you've got to learn to figure out what that language is. Okay, so this is from an island, so this is also on my birthday, okay, and so this is a Greek island called Iktara, I believe it is. Don't think it's, oh blimey, go back, did you see it? So there it is. That is the Virgin definitely holding a baby. Okay, can you see that? Okay, and so hopefully, where's this one here? and there's unfortunately it's on Facebook, and I don't know how to get down pictures of Facebook or save them or anything like that, so I just thought I'd take that screenshot. But you can see there that it is definitely a woman. So I think if you look up just Vision at Iktara Island, you should be able to find that. But I also wanted just to bring out to you that this time, which I have shown you for so long, is the angel of the coming, but only coming to hurt those who do not have the seal of God. Unfortunately, the likes of this man here, Tom Horn, who I've told you about many times, and who obviously knows all the secrets and is one of these, a Mason, and but he is setting the Christians up. So he talks about a guy called Quetzalcoatl. So in my here, I've just got to take you through these films of mine. So this is the first, no, this is the second one. So the second sign that I had, which was in 2011, so it was just before that dream I just told you about. So this was what I believe is the Revelation 4 and 10 angel. And you can see here that the face, I've done several of this one where
starting with it.
So here you can see this face, the side. Oh God. So there I've just got to watch, because the things that go wrong when I try and do this. Okay, here you got the pillars like fire, and here you can see this bright part here, which is its own light source. So here's the sun right down here. So this thing is above the sun, so that's unusual in itself. But there's this bright light source, and then you've got the roaring. You've got the roaring lion in the mouth, and the hair white as wool, and he's holding in the right hand. I'm talking about the Revelation 4 and 10 angel. When you go and read it up and describe it, this is what it is, and you can hear the people describing the different colours, like calling it a flying power, which in our
The umbrella.
our country is like a rainbow. It's all the other colours, and it's a shell.
Get away with looking at it.
Not during the day. Sort of when you see the sunset, isn't it?
I've never seen this ever.
You see all the rainbow colours in there, and there's many others, that I've seen of the face. And joy. So here's the roaring lion, but joy saw straight away the lamb. So it's the lamb and the lion, but the whole thing is definitely very masculine, whereas the one over the island is totally feminine. So here, but okay, behind me I have some old paintings, and that just shows you how long I have been prepared. I thought 2011 was bad enough, because that's 8 years. But these paintings I did here of a man called Ross Coolheart, and his mother. There's a picture of his mother up there. So this is when I was just a student. So you can see there Ross, and I think that says 87, 8th of the 8th, 87. That's an amazing number. Ross. Christine, my name was Ralph back then. Anyway, and that's him at the Harbour Bridge, and that was when he was, I think he was just still doing his studies. And so this is another one of him. So this was behind me. Oh, and this is of him in a hat, okay, in a hat, right? And and he became a journalist. I think he became a lawyer and a journalist. His parents were doctors, or she was a doctor. The father was a doctor, and that was so that's his mother with the red cape on. So her name was Sandy Coolheart, and you see that the red cape there. Okay, so that's. I used to get pretty passionate with my paintings. nothing's changed really. Anyway, so that's Ross, and when you read, so this Ross Coolheart, this is the latest one of Paul Wallace, and Ross Coolheart is mentioned a lot because he is like the only journalist who has really taken this seriously, and and has it's just I haven't actually read this one, but he's really going to these Senate briefings, and he's just really searched it out in a very, very big way. So he's an Australian, so you can look him up. His name's Ross Coolheart, okay? And which just shows you how long God has been preparing me, because what are the chances that the main UFO guy is one of the first paintings I did as a student? And so anyway, here, of course, this liar, and they just make so much money out of us. And this is Skywatch TV, so it's your biggest, Christian broadcasting thing. And frustratingly, I'll be all the money I've spent on all the books, and you'll be reading, all these books, and then at the bottom, you'll get this guy will come in and recommend it, or they'll be citing information from him. So straight away I think, oh, I've wasted all this time reading all this book, and it's another, sponsored by Tom Horn, the great liar. So here he starts talking about okay, this is Quetzalcoatl. So first of all, I'll read you the true bit about Quetzalcoatl, okay? So Quetzalcoatl is another name for, the holy, for God, when God came to this earth. And that's what, the ancients called him, Quetzalcoatl. And so hopefully here it goes. As the story goes, Quetzalcoatl's first attempt to engineer a useful slave species was produced. So this could be, Quetzalcoatl was Yahweh. When you read these guys, you'll understand when they talk about the Elohim, they've changed that into one singular God, but they show that Elohim is multiple gods, and so this is the difference between the and they've also changed those gods and calling them the fallen angels, okay? As the story goes, Quetzalcoatl's first attempts to engineer a useful slave species produced unsatisfactory results. The resultant creatures were either not intelligent enough to serve, or they had no interest in worshipping or serving their superiors. So they were eradicated with a flood. The survivors of these unsuccessful genetic experiments are, according to the Popol Vuh, the ancestors of the ape-like creatures who live in the forests. A rather intriguing footnote which has us and apes sharing a common primate ancestor. Quetzalcoatl's next attempt produced a magnificent result. Homo sapiens Quetzalcoatlus was everything that we are and more. In addition to having all our cognitive abilities, Homo sapien Quetzalcoatlus were able to see beyond what presented to their immediate senses. Okay, so we could see like the dogs. That's why the dogs are going crazy. They can see these things coming down. It would be difficult to exaggerate the importance of such retrievals. Okay, so this is what Quetzalcoatl was, and unfortunately the priests have just airbrushed all this out. But if you get into him and Billy Carson and also Robert Seffer, all confirm the same story. And I will just also tell you that one of the first time, the only time really that I ever heard God speak out loud, and he did it 3 times, and he said, read the book of Joel. Okay, and I wrote a whole story about it in my life story about read the book of Joel, and I have, of course, ever since then. But in the book of Joel, it talks about the land, when the land, the locusts, the time of the locusts, which I associate with the what-is, but it's more on the symbolic level, basically, that God's land, which of course we are his land, has been so stripped and is so stripped because the locusts have gone through. These men, like I say, the goblin men, these are the locusts, who has stripped his beautiful bride and his beautiful trees, and so it's up to you to understand that, and really start discerning who you listen to, and you only listen to God, you just go and trust in God and stop listening to these people because they are the ones filling you with fear, and you are, guilty of idolatry. And this is where I started with my Margaret MacDonald, visions, why I believe her vision was so important when it talked about all the deception that has come upon the church, all these people who think they're Christians, they're following these other ministers who all make money every time you watch them, so, and that is why I have been so unusual, because I've always said, get off the computer, and that, and so it's a bit hard when I've got a message to tell you that really is true, and God has been preparing me for it forever, and today I just really realised the absolute how it's been everything, I just got it today. I've really, really got it. But in Joel 3, it says, for behold, in those days and at that time, when I restore the fortunes of Judah and Jerusalem, because this is this whole thing now. He wants his Jewish people back too. And that is the significance of my ship. When you see that holographic ship, I hope you got that that's what Plato was talking about, these holographs that come in. One part, when it morphs, one part it becomes the actual basket. Do you know this? Sumerians, all the ancients have this basket, and this basket is a basket of knowledge. And also, there's one time when it just splits in half, and it's these pens. One is a smaller pen than the other pen, and I believe that's talking about the sheep pen, the 2 pens, of Israel and the Gentiles. So it says here, I won't, it talks about, it goes on, what are you to me, Tyre and Sidon? Proclaim this among the nations, prepare war. So this is what's happening, I'm afraid. Stir up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Okay, so this is talking about a normal war, which of course is what's happening, everywhere, the whole, thing that's happening over there with the blue and yellow flag. But then it says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am a warrior. So what's that saying? God is sort of laughing at them, saying, yeah, you put your little tools together, you put your little weapons together, get yourself ready, because watch out what's about to happen. And then he says, hasten and come, all you nations round about, gather yourselves there, bring down thy warriors, O Lord. And another one it says, it talks about, it says, thither, gather, bring thy mighty ones down, O Lord. Bring thy mighty ones down, O Lord. Let the nations bestir themselves and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there I will sit to judge all the nations round about. Put in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Go in and tread, for the wine press is full. The vats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of the decision. The sun and the moon are darkened, and the stars withdraw their shining. Well, that's what all these cloudy skies are about. And what they're saying over there, I believe, is, I've seen pictures of the whole sky is just totally clouded over, and this is what the cabal, the dark forces are trying to do, so that you can't see what's happening up there. It says, and the Lord roars from Zion and utters his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shake. But the Lord is a refuge to his people, a stronghold to the people of Israel. So that's not talking about the little land. That is the people of Israel, you, if you're American, and New Zealand, and anywhere that has the flag, or we are the 10 tribes. We are anyone who believes. Jacob was an unbeliever. Then when he really put his faith in God, he became Israel. And so if you truly trust in God, you are Israel. And the Lord roars from Zion and utters his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shake. But the Lord is a refuge to his people, a stronghold to the people of Israel. So you shall know that I am the Lord your God, who dwell in Zion, my holy mountain, and Jerusalem shall be holy, and strangers shall never again pass through it. And so that is also that's what that one there is about. But unfortunately, that there it says, O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, killing the prophets and stoning those who are sent to you. How often I would have gathered you, your children, together as a hen gathers her brood under her wings, and you would not. Behold, your house is forsaken and desolate. For I tell you, you will not see me again until you say, Hosanna, Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. That's Matthew 23, okay? So this is what you've got to, just still yourself and not get drawn in. Yes, unfortunately, people like Candace Owen are stirring up a lot of anti-Semitism, and the real Jews are being led, just like they were led in World War I and II, into, the ovens, by these fake ones, and that they're being prepared as a sacrifice, just as they were in World War I and II, and that's where we're at. But we've got to know that, unfortunately, it's out of the presses of pain that these people are finally going to realise who has been controlling them, who has been controlling the whole world, and we are going to turn on them, okay? So it says, and afterward I will come to pass, and it will come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions, even upon the men servants and the maid servants. In those days I will pour out my spirit, and I will give portents in the heaven and on the earth, blood and fire and columns of smoke. The sun shall be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord comes. And it shall come to pass that all who call upon the name of the Lord shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem there shall be those who escape. As the Lord has said, among the survivors shall be those whom the Lord calls. Okay, so I'm just going to show you, the whole thing, that we are all being gathered. So do not fear. Oh my goodness, as you can see, I've been prepared for this for a long time. And, oh, hang on, I haven't read you that, but I just must compare. So this is what the lying one, how he describes Quetzalcoatl. Not that one, sorry, this one. Okay, oh my goodness. How's my battery? Okay. Oh, Quetzalcoatl. Okay, this is just Ahriman, and of course all the blooming Christians. Here we go. Forget the Da Vinci Code. The Ahriman Gate shows us that the genetic code will soon unleash the mother of all conspiracies. The Ahriman Gate brings the reader face to face with the return of the Nephilim, and that might be a little too close for some folks. Mr. and Mrs. Horn are obviously conversant with the ancient biblical sources and make good use of it in their novel. Just goes on, so this is Bill Carmichael, founding publisher of Christian Parenting Today magazine. It's just incredible. But I don't know if you know his history. One day he walked out of his house and the blooming thing exploded. So all his books, everything, it exploded. Praise God. All his wonderful. Oh, I love it. I love it. Anyway, so here we are, page 210. Quetzalcoatl circled Kevin, closing to within several yards before charging him. The demon raised its 10-foot wide head and leered into the inebriated eyes. Kevin teetered as if trying to decide what he was looking at, but it was too late. In a flash, Quetzalcoatl clamped his razor-like incisors around the right arm, biting through the tender meat and cutting off the appendage at the shoulder, knocking him to the ground. Kevin reacted as if he was so drunk he didn't know what was going on. So it just goes on, and it's just... So here he is, this is, Quetzalcoatl, okay? Quetzalcoatl's actually God, and this is what you've got to understand. Our God is a God of many names. He's come, many, many names. And you have to understand that this is Pike. This is their plan to get Christians so confused, and some of you, and I myself, it's like, okay, now that I believe that that the Genesis account has been adopted by the goblin men, where does this put Jesus? Because of course the guy that wrote it is a pastor, and much more than that. He's a doctor and a teaching pastor. So he actually taught. He was second down in the church, So, but it doesn't change Jesus at all. So, and once you understand that, it's just. It stops Jesus from being God. Okay, that's the only thing that you have to deal with. That Jesus came to show us the way. He came to die for us, as nobody had done before, and so we came under grace. Okay, so that's the big thing, under grace. But Jesus would not have wanted to be called God. Okay, and that is why he gave us the Our Father. The Our Father doesn't, start off with Jesus' name. Okay, so here is the put in the sickle, my Joel thingy. This is it there. This is Joel. Put in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Go in and tread, for the wine press is full. The vats overflow in the valley of decision. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. Okay, so these are the two the last rapture dreams that I had, where you can see one of I'm being taken up in a spaceship, and one that same sort of thing. So that's a holograph. Sorry about that, blooming not thingy there. A holographic. So I'm up on the clouds, and it's they don't contradict. Trust me. So that's another one of Joel. But I won't turn around because unfortunately my house has got to the state where it's absolutely damn dangerous. So sorry for swearing. But yeah, it's the only way to say it. Anyway, so hopefully we just don't get to this point, and this is a vision that I had, and this is if you had known what these words mean, I desire mercy, not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the innocent. And I fear that is where we're at. And so in this one here, but you, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book till the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. Well, we are at the time of knowledge increasing, that's for sure. But you have to use it for your benefit and know that they are controlling you through the computer, and there are different species, so you do have to educate yourself, but you have to be discerning, okay, and stop watching all those liars. So yesterday or the day before, this was the one that I did. Okay, so this is what's happening over in the States now, of course, and so that one was of that dream I had in 2011, okay. And, I didn't tell you there, but on the other page of that dream, it actually cited sightings like this in Scotland. at that time, okay? And what they found was when the guy tried to take photos of them, the shutter wouldn't go. And that's what I also experienced in my dreams. So these are these great big holographic things like the jellyfishes. It's the best I could do. And they came down and they became men. And the scripture I've said, "I have not seen nor ear heard, neither have it entered into the heart of man the things which he hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit." So that's all you need to know is just love the Lord your God. And that's why it was so important that was the word I was given when when Trump was elected. I was given the Shema and told not to forget it. So this is when they visited me. And this is, of course, this is way back then when at 181. So, yeah, so that was about 35 years ago. And I was just sitting there. I wasn't even praying, I don't think. And these two great big men, they're both, the one on the left who's just looking at me really lovingly, I think that's pretty much how they both were, But because I was, such a straight Christian, born-again Christian, I had to try and figure out a way to understand what I was seeing. So I naturally thought that they were angels, and one was an angel, so I said he was Gabriel, and the other one must have been Jesus, because that's all I could all I could deal with, really. And but you can see in here, they are my animals are not at all frightened. It was nothing scary or anything like that. And as unfortunately those animals over in the States are barking at them. And the one on the left, he just looked down at me, and then as I'm sitting there, I saw the one in blue, the blue denims. I have to do that because it's really hard to actually just paint. I just couldn't remember the clothes, so I wanted to make him Jesus. So he picked me up and threw me over his shoulder in the fireman's rescue, and that was just before I was rescued from that place, because you see that fence there. I had some very nasty neighbours, and they used to come on their horses and look at me through the window, and a terrible persecution. And that's sort of normal, for people like me who have, I suppose we call them experiencers. I'm an experiencer, but back then I didn't realise that they were Elohim. I didn't realise I was an experiencer. The accounts that experiencers have had, sometimes have changed them, forever, and they never get over it because of how people, react to them. So I was very lucky that I was just a Christian and just put it down that they were just, that they were angels, even though there weren't any wings. And so I think that is the difference. When they're watchers, they don't have wings, but when they're angels, they do. Okay, so that's the best I can say. I'm just saying, look, please, fear is what the evil ones want your vibration to be. So, God says, fear not, for I am with you. I hope that wasn't too long, and I won't see you for a while. I really think I've said enough for a wee while. What the Lord revealed today was, that we're really there. We're really there. But, it could, as Leonard Cohen sang, when he if you don't know him, you look him up. It was all there, everything that he said all these years, and I mean, he was preparing me since I was 14 years old. But if you listen to his song, what's it called? I heard it yesterday. It says, "May the light." Can't even think of it now. But it was to do with what is happening now, the whole anti-Semitism. It's all to do with the Twin Towers and the fake news that it wasn't terrorists, that it was to do with Mossad. Yeah, they did it. And so this fake cabal, and this is why people like Candace are so dangerous, that she's just being used by the Roman Catholic Church, because they are trying to keep that old hierarchy going, as I'm showing you in my videos with that angel, the Queen of Heaven. You know, we have been taught as Christians to totally renounce all that. You know, that the Queen of Heaven. So we have been blaspheming the Holy Spirit all these years because we have been, you know, and I've got a book that I was given by a friend, you know, and I told you, it's like, oh, I did these paintings and that because I just was so, crazy about it and how I thought it was so evil. But, you know, no, the Queen of Heaven isn't evil at all. And you just know that God, you know, would God be on its own, and it's a spiritual thing, you know, it's spirit, you know, it's not a physical thing. But the mother's always the wise one. And this morning, I don't know if you guys, if there's any English people out there or Kiwis, they'll know the last scene in one of the dreams I had this morning, and it was a really emotional night, and the last scene was Basil Fawlty. So Basil Fawlty's this crazy guy, and who had a hotel called Fawlty Towers, and in this scene it was the last night of the picture theatre, and the picture theatre was closing, and I was just walking past and I saw Basil Fawlty coming down this tunnel, like this brick tunnel, and he had blood all over his head. Now, those of you who don't know it, Basil Fawlty was this great, his name was Cleese. Can't think of his first name. Very funny comedian, someone Cleese. And in the tunnel, he's coming down and he's got blood all over his blooming head, because the thing he used to always do was like bash his head. He was always getting himself into trouble. His wife's name was Sybil, and no Candy, and she used to, you know, always say, I know, because she knew everything. And that's the whole thing I could see today. That's the premise of that program, you know, to sort of program people against men as stupid, because old Basil, he was always being very naughty and then always trying to get himself out, and so to go around, Candy, come here, bashing his head on the floor in frustration, trying to make himself righteous. And that's what we've been doing, trying to make ourselves righteous. But the whole, just her name was Sybil, and oh golly, I could go on. Sybil's a very, very, interesting name. You can go and look it up, and it's like the Sibyllian, I don't know if I'm saying it, prophecies, you know, the prophecies of Sybil, and that was all we had before Jesus came. So, but all that has been made absolutely, off limits for all Christians. So I think my message to you is nothing is off limits for Christians. If you love God, and He knows if you love Him, you know, you can learn about anything and stop letting people fill you with fear, because you are a son of God. You're a son or daughter of God. So you got to walk into that realization, and that's what Trump is here for, to bring us into that. We are, you know, just like the picture of me stretched out on the lion, you know, that is me. I'm resting on top of the Lord, on top of God. So I bless you all in Jesus' name, and hope you're having a wonderful year, and that I've told you enough, that you can, you know, settle down, and if you belong to the Lord, just be still and know that I am God. Okay, all will be well. God bless you. Bye-bye.